Welcome to BrainCast. This is a platform to bring brain health into the spotlight. I'm starting this podcast to give everyone a platform to tell their story, collaborate, be inspired, and not feel alone on their journey. This is the first of many podcasts where we are going to discuss all types of symptoms, issues, and positive actions for people with brain injuries, short or long term. I'm going to give you the raw truth and hopefully inspire a few of you to tell your story as well. My journey started just under 4 years ago. I was fit, I was happy, I was enjoying life. My whole life was about sport and I was loving it. My brain trauma happened when I was playing Aussie rules football or AFL. I was just making a normal run, contact with someone, jumping for the ball, and when we collided, we both fell to the ground. The back of my head hit the ground. Immediately, I didn't feel like I had blacked out or anything like that, but I knew that my senses weren't right. They've taken me off the field. The physio on the day did an assessment, and after 15 minutes, I was allowed back on the field. At the end of the game, I thought in my head it was 3/4 time, but everyone else was shaking hands. I was walking around the field asking everyone why they were shaking hands. We had another quarter to go. It was probably at this point that everyone realised that something wasn't quite right. They all organised for someone to drive me home and for my family to pick me up from the pub afterwards at this point. So thank you for everyone for doing that. The night of the head knock, I didn't feel too bad. Obviously, I was a little bit drowsy, but I had had a few head knocks previously that year, so I felt like I knew what I was in for. But it really wasn't. I had no idea what I was in for over the next couple of months. Over the coming 2 days, the inflammation started to set in. My speech went, my memory went. I could only really sit inside a dark room and desensitize so that I could not have the headaches and the vision issues. I was taken to hospital and all the scans said that there was no physical damage to my brain, which was brilliant. They sent me home and said to rest up and that everything would get better. Symptoms continued to worsen. I completely lost my audio and verbal communication skills. I completely lost all of my family's names, and I couldn't comprehend anything that anyone was telling me, and I couldn't even remember names of things, simple things like a pen or a lawnmower. It wouldn't come out. It felt like it was in there, but nothing was coming out. My motor skills struggled. Holding a pen was actually really difficult. I could text, so I was using my phone to text people quite a bit, and that was possible, but I couldn't stay on my phone for a very long period of time because of the light. It was really bright and it was really affecting my eyes. Other strange things were happening. Some funny things were happening. I was confusing Vegemite. I was eating Vegemite and I thought it was peanut butter. And I mean, every good Australian would know they are nothing alike. And if any of you Americans have had it as well, that it's absolutely nothing alike. And of course, loud noises, high-pitched noises. I really struggled with those, but I mean, the symptoms could go on for days. So, I mean, let's save those for future episodes. We'll go through all different symptoms and we'll go through what we've done collectively to manage those. Days turned into weeks, which turned into months. At this point, the medical advice was to stay away from sport for 12 months. I was more than happy to comply with that. I actually even pushed it to 18 months, at which point I travelled overseas. I went for sport and my 30th birthday, and nothing seemed to be too bad. Maybe my reflexes weren't as what they used to be. But when I came back about a month later, I played nationals, and during the semi-finals, I was the goalkeeper for futsal, and I jumped across goals, and someone at the same time came through to try and score the goal, and unfortunately hit me in the temple. The weird thing about that was I knew at the time that I wasn't right, but I didn't realise how much I had desensitized to the rest of my body, and my body was focusing on my brain, and I didn't realize for 2 weeks that I had a broken jaw and a broken nose. So strange things can happen when your brain's affected, which I started to realize at that point. Unfortunately, after this concussion, it meant another 6 months off work, and at the end of that 6 months, I wasn't able to return back to my regular profession, which was in the construction industry. So I was needing to retrain, and which is what I did. It's something that I would really love to visit in its own episode, because it's just so important to show people that it really is possible. So this is the story of what happened. It's the end of what people see as the challenge for someone with the brain impairment. But as anyone who has been through this will know, it's really just the beginning. The real challenge is the day-to-day struggles. It's things like emotional challenges, it's financial, it's social, it's the physical things that come and go as they please, and really sporadically. During this podcast series, I'm aimed to be brutally honest about my experiences and challenges, and I really hope that assists people in opening up about what they're going through. I feel like it's really important to collaborate about the tools that we use to get through each day, to help each other, to share inspiring stories, ride the emotions together, and bring brain health out into the open. This is a place to be understood with no judgment, just support. I would love for you to share your story, your questions and ideas in the comments below, and subscribe. Let's continue the conversation below, and if you have anything that you would like us to talk about during any of our episodes, just let us know in those comments and we'll get to it. Just to let you know, some of the topics that we're going to be discussing in future episodes will be things like injury management, both early and long-term injury management. We have memory issues, support, and why we need to be accepting that support. Mood and regulation of emotions, dealing with financial pressure, anxiety, mental health, especially mental health during this time in COVID-19, inspiring stories, and tools for everyday life. This is really just the beginning. There's just so much to talk about. I can't wait to continue having these conversations with you all. Welcome to BrainCast.